If you are in sales, you have to hear this. Irrespective whether you are an SDR, BDR, or an AE, and whether you have 1 year of experience or 10 years, this is something that no one talks about on ground reality. Before jumping into the main part, let me give you some context. I was on a call, and this was the third call with this prospect. He is from Australia, and we were about to close this particular deal. At the end of the demonstration, the customer said, "This looks good. Let me discuss internally and get back to you." And ideally, a good rep would have said, "Would this Thursday sound good for a follow-up call wherein we can discuss about the feedback and how to proceed further?" I didn't do that. Even though I have 6 years of experience, I took a different path altogether. I started explaining him the overall product summary. I started explaining him the pain points versus those features that we have. I saw the customer's reaction and understood the customer wasn't budging in. So I took my last word and I said that if you're trying to close this week, I can offer you a discount as well, which was completely unnecessary. I understood by looking at his face that he is not looking for a discount. He just wants to have a quick conversation with his team and get back to me. Now, after this, I tried reaching out to him over email and phone, but I understood that the customer has started ghosting me. After this call, I sat there for some time. I was trying to analyze why did I do this. It's not the first call that I'm taking. I've been selling SaaS platforms for a living for the last 6 years. And I was feeling a little embarrassed about why did I lose this particular deal that I was about to close in this particular call. It took me some time to understand what went wrong. After doing some analysis, I understood this wasn't about my product, it wasn't about my script or even how I handled the call. But it was one single number that was there in my CRM, which I completely overlooked. And I believe majority of the people in sales do overlook this number because of which they are not able to reach the top 1%. A quick introduction to everyone. My name is Shankar, and as I said, I've been selling SaaS platforms for the last 6 years. 5 years I've been selling into Indian market, and last 1 year I'm reaching out to Australian customers sitting in India. One quick heads up, I am not a coach who is here to tell you that I have figured it out all and I'm going to preach you, but rather I am an AE who is still on his chair making calls, trying to close deals, and I want to put my stuff online so that anyone out there who's trying to get better in sales can learn what are the mistakes that I made and can avoid making them. And this story that I just mentioned, the problem did not start the same day that I told you, but it started 2 months before. And this is a new company where I'm trying to figure out everything on the sales journey. But one thing that was there with me is my previous company where I was working, I was hitting my numbers quarter on quarter basis. This one metric that I'm going to talk about is something that I used to track on a daily basis, but I missed tracking this in the new company that I started. To stay with me, let me explain what am I talking about. So the metric that I'm going to deep dive into right now is called as pipeline. For the people in sales, they might be thinking or reacting like, is this what this guy is going to talk about? Pipeline? Don't I know what a pipeline is? But I want you to stay with me for 2 minutes and understand what I'm going to say right now. For the people who are new to sales, pipeline is nothing but the number of active prospects or conversations that you're having who might get converted into a lead. So you have a funnel into which you start filling prospects, and that is considered as your pipeline. At 2022, I joined LeadSquared. For people who don't know what LeadSquared is, a CRM platform that helps manage companies the end-to-end inquiry cycle. Now at LeadSquared, I was able to hit my numbers quarter on quarter basis and even overachieve them, except the first quarter. Now the reason why I'm telling you this story is because from the second quarter onwards, I had 50 to 20 prospects in my pipeline where I was having active conversations. And let's say even if I lose a particular deal, that does not break my week or a particular month, because I knew even if this deal gets lost, I have a second deal as a backup where I can have a conversation and get it closed. Now achieving quota is something that helps you build confidence. And this is a feeling most AEs ignore, and even managers don't point it out. I as an AE definitely ignored it because I was not knowing what is working well for me. But as soon as it stopped working, I understood that this is one area that helped me close more deals. Now this feeling of enough is something that most AEs and managers ignore. When I was closing my deals at LeadSquared, I was not able to understand this is one factor that was helping me close these deals. But as soon as I joined the next company and when I was not able to close my deals, I understood that this one factor is missing from my overall conversations. Now, why did I say pipeline is the major important factor? Because let's say if you have 15 to 20 deals in your pipeline, and let's assume you want to talk to a customer, the way you talk when you have active conversations and you know there are backups in the pipeline, compared to when you're talking to them when you only have 3 or 4 deals and this deal becomes a major deal breaker for you to hit your quota, the overall tone, confidence and conversations completely change. Now I assume if you're from sales field, you would agree with me. Let's assume you have good amount of deals in your pipeline. If a customer asks for a discount, which is not feasible, or something that is out of the box, you can confidently say this is not something that we offer and this is not something that we can do at the moment. And you can confidently stay calm without having the pressure to over-explain it or try to convince the customer to purchase it. You just tell them what you have and how you can help them, explain the value proposition, and you wait for the customer's response. That is the confidence that pipeline gives you. And that is the reason why I said pipeline is the major factor. Now, I didn't appreciate how much this one metric, that is pipeline, was helping me close deals because I assumed I was a skilled AE. That is the reason I was able to close deals. So at Freshworks, I am catering to Australian market. So I start my day at around 5:30 in the morning, and it's around 10 o'clock for them in Australia. So I wrap up my day around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is around 6:37 for them in Australia. For the first 2 months as I joined the company, the numbers were pathetic. And I believe everyone knows this. When you start with a new company, you have to start from scratch. You learn the product, you learn the market, you learn how to pitch this product and what are the USPs of our product, what are the competition doing in this. So I took the initial 2 months to learn how this particular industry works and how I can position myself. So by month 3, I had 5 opportunities in my pipeline. And for a quota that I carried, I had to at least close 8 to 10 deals based on the previous trends that I have noticed. But I was sitting here with 5 deals in mind. Let's assume even if I closed all 5 deals, I won't be able to achieve my quota for that particular month. And it says you don't only work on closing new deals, but also build pipeline for the coming month. Based on the volume that I was handling, I understood in this way, I'm going to a disaster. Because I had this realization in my mind, all the conversations that I was having, whether it be a negotiation or a new discovery call, there was a low confidence and desperation that was coming on my voice. And it's not only that I was able to hear it, but the customer was also able to understand this. That's when I understood when you have good amount of pipeline, automatically the way you talk, the conversations that you hold, the way you handle customers completely change. The customer feels that they're talking to a consultant rather than a salesperson when you have a handful of opportunities in your pipeline and you have a healthy pipeline in your place. Now let me give you some actual numbers based on some surveys which is available on Google as well. Because I'm sure you might be thinking, why should I be hearing this guy? It might be a bad deal or a bad month for him, and that does not matter for you. But that is not the case. As per Review's SaaS sales benchmark report, it says out of 100%, only 47% people are able to achieve their quota as an account executive. Now, if you have 100 account executives in your organization, only 30 to 47 people are able to hit their numbers. Overachieving is something which filters it further. Right. Now, what this means is more than 50% of the account executives are not able to hit their numbers. And this is not a bad month or a bad cycle, but rather than it's an industry average that we're following right now. Now, again, as per this survey, a median AE who is placed at a decent company draws a salary of around 15 lakhs to 92 lakhs. I'm talking in all ranges, SMB to enterprise. And you can add variables to this. I'm talking about the fixed pay. Right. Now, companies have 60-40 split or 50-50 split. So you can think about it, what might be the salary of a AE here. Now, the AEs who are in the top league, who are placed in best companies, who are selling to the enterprises, are earning a median salary of 1.5 to 1.7 crores, including the variable pay. And this is not a US market that I'm talking about. This is an Indian market. Now, to reinforce my point, just think about it. The last 1 year, when you started sales till now, which is the topmost month where you have achieved your numbers. Now, also do an analysis of what might be the reason and does it reflect of what I was saying. That is, you might be getting too many inbound leads because of which you closed more deals. You might have rollover from last month pipeline and you had that carried over to the next month. So you got more deals closure in that particular month. Whatever the reason may be, but just think about it. In the last 1 year, which are the months that you closed the top deals, and when you did that, the way you spoke to the customers, the recordings that you have, compare that with the months that you did not have any pipeline or it was very less compared to what you had. And when you analyze this, I might be able to make a point here because you will be able to learn it on your own experience. So ideally, the end goal for any person in sales should be to ensure that we have real, valid opportunities in our pipeline wherein there is active conversations happening with prospects and they are qualified using Band or Medpic, whichever framework you use. So with Freshworks, I started blaming the market saying that Australia is not a right market, they don't answer phones. I started blaming the product saying that this is not a right product fitment, the prices are too high. And I started blaming myself saying that I don't have enough skills to have a conversation, I'm not able to hold a conversation. And this is a thing that I don't have much control over, but rather I started focusing on things that I had control over. That is, I could ensure that I'm consistent with the calls that I make. I cleared all my pipeline which are stale or in a loop phase wherein there's no moving forward with that deal. I removed all of them. I looked at all my past deals or conversations that I was having with customers and I realized one more mistake that I was making. There were only 2 or 3 major channels that I was trying to reach out to customers. One through calls, second through email, and third through LinkedIn. But the content that I had in this was all same. A quick follow-up, just checking in, wanted to understand, and all these things. I feel as a customer, if you look at the emails, you have hundreds of spams coming in. So do you take time to reply back to the emails? No. So what I did was I created a new prospecting sequence which remained for 60 days long. There were calls, emails, and LinkedIn, but there were no content like just following up, just checking it, but rather replaced with industry benchmarks, customer feedbacks, and things that the customers might look at. But I also added few other channels, like I started reaching out to the borderline numbers and connect to the person. I started reaching out to the colleagues of this person in the same organization from different departments. I started reaching out to multiple people so that I am able to build a conversation at one place or the another. And this way, I was able to have conversations at least with customers. And because I was having conversations, my pipeline started building. They started showing up for discovery. They started looping in the right team members. And I was able to build my pipeline. So I learned this from Alex Hormozy and Brian Tracy. Basically, they are sales mentors. So it's one framework that I understood is the prospect isn't ignoring you because they're not interested, but it's because you knocked on one single door for 2 or 3 times and you left. So ideally, you have to build a system where you're trying to knock multiple doors. You're trying to have a conversation with multiple point of contacts. And the end goal is to bring them for a meeting and show them the value proposition. Now, once that is done, that's where an active conversation starts and you build your pipeline there. So here's the one thing that I wanted to be honest with you. I know pipeline is a very basic metric to track for a sales CE. But I feel when you know and actually when you do, there is a huge difference. Now, if you have heard about Jeb Blond, he is an author of a book called Fanatical Prospecting. And if you have not read it, I highly recommend that's one single book that you should learn to learn all the foundations of sales. Now, as per Jeb Blond, the single reason why AEs are not able to achieve their quota is because of a lack of pipeline. And the root cause of not having a pipeline is because we don't prospect. Now, that is the reason I believe tracking all of the metrics is like lead to demo, demo to conversion, MQL, SQL, ARPA, SCR, all these metrics would help you understand where are you going wrong in this particular areas. But pipeline is one single metric. If you focus on that clearly, you would be able to get better at sales. And the major reason to start this channel is also for that. When I started my career, I was looking for content on YouTube and other places so that I can learn and understand how I can get better. But all the content is made for countries like US, Canada, or Australia. And there's no perspective of an Indian AE on how to create strategies, how to handle this. Because I believe the user personas, the ICPs that they are talking about is completely different. The objections that the people raise in US and Canada is completely different from what they raise in India. So I felt that I should cover these topics which is not available in an Indian perspective, and this will help you to polish your skills, or let's say if you're a starter and starting your journey in sales, this should help you build your own strategy. I'm going to document everything on this channel, the frameworks, the calls, how to take discoveries, how to handle objections, and things that did not work out, what are the mistakes that I made, what are the things that worked out, so that you can take these references and implement that on your sales journey. So this channel is made for someone who does 50 or 100 calls a day and is not able to book any meetings and feels disappointed. You might be thinking, am I cut out for sales? Is this something that I want to do for a long term? If you match the description, ensure you subscribe and stay tuned. Because for the next few months, I'm going to release content wherein you're able to understand and analyze where are things going bad, what are the mistakes that I have made that you can take reference from and get better at sales. So see you at the next video.